Can you just talk about what you felt your level of execution over the course of the game was yesterday offensively, and have you even built from the opener to this point?
It's a good game. I thought we maybe a different path. It didn't start as fast as maybe we had anticipated and hoped, but I thought the adjustments throughout the game were really, really good. Obviously, we found a way to run the ball well, and certainly the third quarter had a big impact on that game.
Dak said that there were some certain adjustments that you and he talked about at halftime that led to some of those third quarter touchdowns. What's an example of that, and how key was that?
Just the Amari touchdown. I would start with that one. Just we ran a route similar to that, the quick out route, and felt like there was an opportunity potentially for a double move there down the line, and we got into the right situation, allowed us to call that, and then the move by Ced. That play was we've ran a similar play where we kind of throw a outlet to our tight end rather quickly, and we kind of made a little bluff, a little double move off of that, and it opened up.
There have been times when we've talked about halftime adjustments through the years that people have said you can't actually have that much time to adjust at halftime. It goes quickly in the NFL. Is this fairly common, or is it hard to actually make those meaningful adjustments at halftime?
Amari's touchdown's a play. We ran against the Chargers. You can tell Dak he probably should have thrown a touchdown to Amari. It's the exact same play. We've repped it a million times. It's a core play. Just kind of re-emphasized it at halftime. We have an opportunity to go to this, and then the one said we've carried for really since week one, and had we been put in the right situation, we would have called it, and just happened to be this game.
How many plays do you take to a game?
I would say it varies. We try and keep it fairly consistent. I don't think we keep it narrowed down to a specific number, but each window, each certain area of the field, whether it be a third down, red zone, we kind of try and keep a certain number in that situation. And so, within that, you got to have variables. Sometimes you're going to have carryover from a week that you feel really good that, hey, we've repped all these plays. We can just carry them right into the next week and keep moving along and maybe throw one more wrinkle. Sometimes you get flushed out in a situation where maybe it's a red zone situation, maybe it's a third down situation. We were in the situation a lot. We carried 7 or 8 plays. We're going to end up running 7 of them. We may need to do some work in this particular area just to make sure we're kind of re-energized and kind of have our new flavor in that particular area.
The time you guys ran that same play concept against the Chargers, if I'm remembering it correctly, he found Blake over the middle for 20.
Yes.
And so that's a pretty good result, but he did have that pump fake with Amari on the left alley. So how do you evaluate that when it's a chunk for you guys, but it's not the chunk that it could have been?
Exactly. It was an awesome play just because, Dak threw it and you can kind of see his body language from behind. He knew he had Amari, but really there's just this big opening right in the middle of the field, and Blake's staring at him right there. And sometimes as a quarterback, you're going there, but just the attraction of someone just staring right at you, wide open, kind of overrides it. And he naturally threw it to Blake as he's looking. Oh yeah, there's the big play. But that's what happens sometimes. It happens throughout a game, and fortunately for us, we'll find another way to get to it down the line, and just so happened this week was that.
What did it say about Amari? One, that he continued to that game, but then 2, that he knows his body well enough to be able to push it physically so that he's still effective, but not overextending his hamstring.
Amari's in an awesome place. He's done a great job. I understand, he's dealing with circumstances, sometimes an injury thing like a lot of guys deal with. But for him to continue to be available, do everything he can throughout the week, put himself in a position to play in that game, deal with maybe some stuff throughout the game, and keep becoming available. And you can see him on the sideline. He's constantly kind of working through it, kind of trying to stay ready, ready to go. And I think he kind of found his place and was able to still contribute, and that was awesome.
Probably told us after the opener you thought the offense would balance out. Has the pendulum swung to the run game even more than you thought it would?
Similar to the last couple games, I think this game you go into it with a fairly balanced approach, understand if we got to swing one way or the other, we'll swing there. And obviously, based off Carolina, the first few games, we really probably didn't have the greatest pulse on where we wanted to take this game just because of the circumstance of their first 3 games. And so as we went in that game, we certainly found a groove running the football, found some things that we liked, and were able to attack them that way.
Understanding there's an evolution in this offense because the core's been here for a while and you've been here for a while. But are you able to adapt more quickly in games than you were maybe the first few years here when you're in this position, just because of the style and the willingness to kind of adapt versus an imposure, let's run these principles and keep doing it, and It's a bit of a difference there, a growth there.
I would say for myself, obviously year 3, just being able to, go through the process of games, I think I feel much more comfortable making those adjustments throughout the game. And I think for us, especially most importantly as a staff, second year as a staff together, all the same group, we're able to communicate so much quicker and see the things that we need to potentially make adjustments to. And so I think we're in a really, really good place. And certainly as a team, we very much embrace it, that there's going to be adjustments. Adjustment football is part of the process. And you're going to have to, we're not going to reinvent things at halftime. We're going to maybe reestablish something that maybe it wasn't a part of the initial game plan. Go, hey, we're going to make this little adjustment here and there. Halftime for what, 12 minutes? I don't even know. 12 minutes. I mean, there's not a whole lot of talking that's going to go on there. But I feel like we've continued to embrace it, and I think that's the good thing. Our guys come back. We get feedback throughout the game, coaches and players together, and we're able to make those adjustments whenever we feel necessary.
How often have you guys run that, the last play that clinched the game, the pitch from Zeke, and how often do you need to be comfortable to see the pitch is going to be there all the time before you will have that call?
Carried it since week 1, just situational play. We ran a similar play at Minnesota last year with Zeke on a 2-point play at Minnesota. With he ended up pitching at the CD, and so it's a play we were comfortable with, very comfortable with. Those guys repped it a bunch of times, felt very comfortable with the circumstance that presented itself. They loaded up the box and felt like, hey, there's going to be some tough challenges inside there to get the yard. They're going to commit to it, and so if we have an open edge over there, we'll take our opportunity right there, and we feel very comfortable with putting the ball in Zeke and Tony's hands. Those guys will make great decisions and protect the ball.
Guys lobby for a play like that because they see the success in practice and they say, Coach, we should do it right. How do you manage that to say, we'll do it or not right now?
Throughout a game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say our guys understand that the opportunities will eventually come, and sometimes there's patience element to it. And usually, if we're patient enough, we find the right time and the right circumstance, and right there. And then, I think there's a trust factor to that. There's certainly an opportunity for different plays, and different guys are going to have different options. There's other guys that got stuff that probably sit on the call sheet. There's probably stuff on our call sheet right now that'll sit there till Thanksgiving in December that, hopefully there comes the right time and place for it. And I think guys understand that that's part of the process.
Where has Cedric made his greatest strides, Kellen?
Cedric is just such a smart player. He doesn't need the reps, which is to say that being a third, fourth receiver, a lot of times those starters are going to get a ton of reps. They need all the reps they can get. They're going through that process. So as a third, fourth, fifth receiver on a roster, you're going to be sometimes doing scout team. You're going to be pulled here and there. When a guy needs a play off, you need to be able to play. And so his versatility to play all 3 positions is huge. And then, like we said, when a guy goes down like Michael, he just hops right in, plays wherever we need to. And his understanding and feel for the game, I think, is at an extremely high level for a receiver. His feel for the game, understanding where to find the openings, and he's a really, really smart football player.
Kellen, Jack talked a lot about training his mind when he wasn't able to train his body over the last year. How have you seen his mental game or mental toughness evolve, and how's it different this year than last year?
His mental toughness is second to none. I think we all are aware of how impressive a guy he is in that regard. I think just how fast he processes football right now, I think is obviously at a really, really high level. His ability to quickly see the adjustments that need to be made, see the adjustments within a drive. Maybe a defense gives him a different look, different coverage, and it doesn't take until to get to the other sideline, to the sideline to have those conversations. He knows how to quickly adapt and adjust, and you can just see how quickly the ball's coming out of his hand. He knows where he wants to get the ball to, and he goes and executes quickly and fast and confidently.
When your guys' defense is on the field, what are you looking at? Are you looking at what you guys just got done doing, or are you already kind of on to whatever the next drive is and what you think is going to work there?
Combination of both. We review the previous drive. Obviously, we want to evaluate that, but then quickly we got to move on and, okay, here's our next step. Here's our next couple runs. Here's our next couple passes. If we get into our next third down, this is probably the anticipated call. And so we're constantly having those conversations so that when we do get on the field, guys aren't really surprised by what we're calling. We've already had these conversations right before we went out on the field. We're not calling some random play off the call sheet that no one's talked about since Wednesday. Occasionally it may happen here and there based off of circumstance, but for the most part, we're talking through this whole game.
You guys have you guys are doing a couple of different things to have Connor McGovern more involved, fullback, these past 2 games being one of them. First, what's that personnel grouping called? If you're able to say when he's the fullback?
We just say MAC. So MAC, yeah. That's the Mac show. So, yep, Mac goes in there and he handles everything. It's been awesome. He's a guy that has done some great stuff for us. Obviously, Zach, when Zach gets an opportunity to go in, we should probably play Zach at right guard, and we got to find him an opportunity to play as well, and because he's been doing a great job.
Dad was saying that back his rookie year, when y'all were both players, you guys would like draw up plays on note cards and try and find ways to get them to Linehan, was the way he put it. What do you remember about that time? Did you keep those note cards, and can you remember any of the plays on them? Have you called any since?
I would not remember what was on any note cards probably, but no, Scott was awesome. It was tons of fun. That first year, really, just because of the circumstances, I was on IR, so luckily Jason, Scott, they kind of let me hang around and, be in the room. It was, Tony, Dak, Sanchez, Mark. We had a ton of fun that year. We really enjoyed it, and so it was an opportunity for me to kind of be on the other side of it for the first time ever, being on IR, because I wasn't going to be able to play. I was doing all the rehab, but kind of gave me, Scott was awesome to give me a chance to stay around it, kind of see it from the other lens, so to speak, on the coaching side, and I think it really helped me, with where I'm at now, just to be able to be prepared for that, and hey, throw some ideas out, give some suggestions here and there, and talk through it, and it was a lot of fun.
What is your offense? I mean, how much of what you guys are doing, what you did with Jason and Linehan, and how much is what Mike has brought, and what is your influence?
That's a great question, and I'd probably not have a great percentage answer for you. I think certainly the foundation and everything has been here, just because when Dak showed up in 16, I think we had a great foundation. We're playing really good football, and each and every year, bits and pieces come along. Scott throws his influence into it, and then I kind of threw maybe a little bit of flavor to it, and then Mike came in, and all our other position coaches, and so each and every year it's kind of evolving and piecing together, and so I think as we go, we're just constantly. I don't think we ever set it in stone. It's never. This is exactly what we're going to be. Our ability to adapt and adjust, and whoever our personnel is, we suit it best for them and go play ball.
But the foundation is what you guys said from 26. I guess there was a base foundation. That was it.
Yeah, I think that's a starting point. Some of the language has changed over time. You'd probably laugh, like probably if people who are maybe Tony or Whit came in, and sometimes half the language they'd be like, okay, I get that now. Whoa, where'd that word come from? And there'd probably be a little bit of 50-50 there, a little bit with some of the language, but we're constantly evolving it, constantly piecing it together, and so it's kind of a constant evolution.
We're coming up on the 1-year anniversary when Dak got hurt. What was it like on the sidelines when he went down, and when you realize it's serious? How do you compartmentalize? Like, there's still a game to call, even though the guy I've worked with so much has just suffered this kind of injury.
Yeah, I think it was really tough for everyone to see him deal with that and understand the circumstance that it was probably going to create for us. His response, obviously, really moving forward past that day was probably one of the biggest things for our team, to see him respond in such a positive and uplifting way. But it was hard for everyone on game day, and obviously we were able to get past it. Andy did a really good job in that particular game, just being able to respond. Zeke had the run, Michael had the big block. It still stands in everyone's head. That big run on the right side, that was a big moment for our team, just to see that response and how hard Zeke ran, and he knew there was a purpose to it. And for Andy then to come back and make the couple big plays in the 2-minute drive, it was a very up and down emotional game just from that regard, because you won a game, but you still, in the back of your mind, you knew what Dak would be dealing with and those circumstances, and so it was a very interesting game, to say the least.
When he got hurt, obviously on the sidelines, you got to get things going with Andy, but did you think about, you had a similar injury, when you was in camp? Did you think about that in the brief moments that things were going on?
To be honest, I don't think I thought a whole lot about my experience at the moment. We understood, once you kind of realized the ramifications it was probably going to be, this wasn't a sprained ankle in any way. This was the real deal. There was going to be some challenges moving forward, but we quickly had to kind of get going, get Andy ready to rock and roll, and I think our team responded as well as they could under those circumstances at that time.
How much do you watch last year's game leading into this week's game, and when the play comes up, do you just skip it?
anytime you got common opponents, you have a division team, you're going to watch those games. They're going to watch those games. We're all going to watch them and study them and evaluate them. Sometimes you skip past the very, very end of that run. Certainly, we've seen it a few times, and that's all we probably need to see of it.
The offense has averaged over 200 yards over the last 3 games. How much of a testament is that to the job of the offensive line and creating holes and staying on blocks longer to face up the run game?
The offensive line is playing phenomenal. It's so fun to watch. Zach popping back in there week 2, getting back into this thing, and where they have taken it to establish the line of scrimmage and take control of that thing. It's been a ton of fun, and it's ton of fun to see them come off the field fired up, excited, keep running the rock, keep grinding these guys. It's a big testament to how hard those guys have battled and the communication, and that's the biggest thing I think is, we've dealt with a lot of injuries and different circumstances, and those guys being able to play together and create some continuity and have a great feel for it. They're coming off the ball really, really hard.
When you watch tape from last year of Steele, is the biggest difference just the strength when you look at him this year compared to what you got from him last year?
I would say Terrence, just his comfort level and his ability to get off the ball and play confidently. When you're a rookie, dealing with those circumstances, playing a ton of games, those guys deal with a lot of stuff at the line of scrimmage, a lot of movement, a lot of adjustments, all the things that go into playing offense line. It's not just, I'm blocking this individual in front of me 70 times. There's a lot other things that go with it. And so when you're able to kind of finally get to that step where, okay, I understand my job responsibility, I understand what the expectation is, now I can truly just react and play ball, I think he's playing really, really well.
You guys have gotten off to this 3-1 start despite having...
Sorry, what was that?
You guys have gotten off to this 3-1 start, 31, 32 points per game, despite Michael Gallup being out, despite Lyle Collins being out. What have you noticed, and I don't mean to ask you to speak ill about the previous regime, but what have you just noticed about, under Mike McCarthy, the way that you guys have figured out ways to overcome adversity, especially early on this season, to get off to this good start, offensively and defensively?
I would just say with regards to this year, I think our guys have embraced this. Whoever gets the opportunities, whoever's ready to go. And there's an unselfishness element to this team that's awesome. That CD has 2 catches this week, and who knows what he has next week. And he's gonna have a big game coming up, and maybe we don't run it as many times. We throw it a bunch, and if LC can't go, Terrence, you're hopping right back in there and you're ready to rock and roll. And Mac, you play right guard, and you play an awesome game at Tampa, and now you're going to have to become a backup again. But we're going to find a way, and we're going to get you in at fullback. And so I think our guys really embrace this opportunity that whoever's out on the field, let's go for it. We'll find everyone opportunities. We'll find everyone roles to be a part of this thing. And as the games go on, there's going to be bumpy moments. Carolina's a good football team. They're going to have success. They're going to get you a few times in the second quarter and just keep going, and we'll find our way.
Does that give you, as an offensive coordinator, even more excitement at the idea of, hey, eventually we're going to have LC back, eventually we're going to have Gallup back, and now all of a sudden it opens up even more?
Certainly, anytime you get guys of their level back, it's going to be awesome. We're going to be really excited when Michael and LC get an opportunity to be a part of this, and that's how this game goes. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be maybe more unfortunate things that we'll have to deal with throughout a season. That's what the NFL is about, and guys just have to keep plowing away and keep responding the right way.
You would probably say this every week, but was that Zach's best game of the year?
Yeah.
Highest grade?
Yeah, I think he played phenomenal. I don't know what Madden's 99s are, but Zach should probably be sitting in there. And the guy's playing as good as anyone in the National Football League. He plays right guard. I know it's not the sexiest, coolest position in the world, but he's amazing.
How much, you get to play a high rate of 12 personnel, how much of that is a response to losing Michael earlier in the year, or do you think this is just the week-to-week game plan based thing that it would have been otherwise?
I would say 12 personnel is based off the circumstance of the game and the game plan. We would have no problem playing 11 personnel and throwing set out there and playing ball on 11 personnel. I think based off the circumstance, we felt like we had some opportunities in 12 personnel, and Blake and Dalton and even Sprinkle and Mac in there a few times, getting those guys in there, we feel very comfortable and felt like those gave us a great opportunity in these last few games.
On Jarwin's touchdown, great route, great throw, but can you talk the importance of Noah Brown What he does to open that up?
That's the most important aspect of this thing. He gets the assist. I know we don't keep assists in the NFL like the NBA does, but if you gave assist, Noah Brown gets a big-time assist there because he runs the route. He wins at the line of scrimmage just to get moving, and he really creates kind of a wall of traffic there and gives really Blake a two-way go. He's got the ability to break in or out based off the defender's leverage, and the guy had to play over the top because Noah's running. The DB's got to make a decision as soon as the guy goes out. Blake goes in, and there's your touchdown.
How much of that is the foundation of play design? It seems like there have been, throughout the season, I realize it's around the league, but you can point to examples where Amari is tracking the safety and that opens things up for Dalton or whatever it may be. How much of that is the foundation of what you try to do as a coordinator?
I think we're continuing to try and emphasize that it really takes all 11. In the run game, it takes all 11. It takes the receivers going out and digging out those safeties in the run game, Dak booting to hold the backside defensive end. It takes all 11 there. In the passing game, it takes all 11. Everyone running their routes, opening it up, understand that there's a method to it, that if you're running a certain route, hey, you may not be the primary here, but you're taking someone with you, and you're going to open it up potentially for someone else. So I think our guys have a constant understanding and confidence that, hey, I may not get the ball here, but Blake's going to get the ball, and eventually Blake's going to do something for me to help me get the ball. And so it's been a lot of fun.
What level is Tyron playing for you guys at left tackle?
He's playing phenomenal. There's a great clip if you want to watch on the little scramble pass to Dalton. If you want to watch him at left tackle right there, I'd recommend watching that clip. He is playing phenomenal football right now, and to see him out there, he really takes a hold of that left side.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you.